All right, let's try it again. Going to the Skype line, Senator Andrew Rohraback. Andrew, you there?
I'm here, Brian. Yes, how are you?
I am terrific. Hey, thanks for joining us. So you are up at Romney headquarters in New Hampshire.
I am standing in Manchester, New Hampshire, and the governor is about to address a very full house of very excited people.
Well, that is very exciting. I wish I was there. I would love to go to one of these conventions, Democrat or Republican. Just the fervor and the excitement in the air must be terrific.
No, the energy is not to be believed, and got to say a quick hello to Mayor Mark Boughton. Mayor Boughton, how are you? Doing on the phone with the press. Nice to see you. Happy New Year.
Hey,
so we got a lot of people from Connecticut here, and certainly a feeling that the governor is going to establish himself as the front runner in this race tonight and go on to South Carolina and Florida and seal the deal.
Oh, that is great. Had I known that, I would have, I would have staffed you as a reporter, and you could have just been our content provider for On the Horn. You could have gotten a reporting job from us. That would have been terrific.
Well, I will send you a bill after we finish our conversation.
Yeah, just invoice me, won't you? That would be great. Yes, well, when you get a chance, say hi to Mayor Mark. He loves us. He's been on the air a few times. But you are running. Let's get away from the presidency and let's get to the serious stuff. You know, the stuff where the real action happens, and that is in Congress. You are vying in the 5th District for a U.S. Congress position. Congressman Rohraback. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Why do you want to run for Congress?
Well, I'm running for Congress because I want our country to have a bright future. And right now, the approval rating of Congress is at an all-time low, and I'm sorry to say that's with very good reason. And quite frankly, the only way we're going to change Congress is by changing the members of Congress one at a time.
I think you're right, and I'm going to ask some follow-up questions on that right away. I had, as I do with all the candidates that come on forward, a few questions onto you so we can find out a little bit more about you and have the entire state say, hey, you know what, this might be a pretty good guy to send down there to Washington. So let's fire off through some of those questions. There's a lot going on, especially in this past year, with the idea of the Gay Marriage Act. And Congress is putting together this big effort to protect the institution of marriage, which seems almost like a little bit of wasted effort since we have so much other stuff going on. What is your reaction to that? Would you support the effort behind a gay marriage or a right to marriage act?
Well, honestly, Brian, to me, that issue has been settled in the state of Connecticut, and it's not something that is going to change, I think, in the state of Connecticut. So it's not an issue that I think is a priority. I think that the states are handling the issue as they see fit, and at this juncture, I don't see any reason to move the debate from the state level to the national level.
So you would not be in favor of amending the Constitution to have some sort of marriage act as defined as man and woman, that's the institution of marriage?
Well, what I've learned in 18 years in the legislature is I don't commit to any position until I've seen the particulars of the language of any particular resolution. So, I reserve judgment. I did vote for gay marriage in Connecticut. I think that it's a settled issue in Connecticut. And with respect to any federal initiatives, I would obviously look at the language and make a decision accordingly.
Would you prefer that this kind of issue stay at the state level as opposed to rising to the federal?
Well, I think that the states, are handling it, and I think it's an issue that is appropriately addressed at this state level. May there come a time where it's appropriate for the federal government to get into the act? I think that question remains to be seen.
There's a lot of comments on your website about these three phrases: American dream, middle class, and small business. I want you to go ahead and define those for me. What do you think the American dream is right now?
Well, the American dream, I think, has always been that each successive generation would have it better than the generation before them, and that if you worked hard and applied yourself, that you would have a chance to have a better quality of life than the generation that preceded you. So that that to me is what the American dream is all about, and that's what's very much in peril given the direction this country is heading in.
I think you may be right, but I also have to imagine that the term American dream has sort of been bastardized as to just be filthy rich. I think too much of it is tied to money, and I think that that's a shame. But I like the way you said
But
it.
no, I listen. The American dream is security, it's confidence in the future, it's peace of mind. That to me is what the American dream is all about.
Help me understand, and this is a phrase that drives me up the wall, what the middle class is. Give me some parameters of exactly who the middle class is, whether that be what your net worth is or what your annual gross income is or what. How does one define what the middle class is?
Well, I think the middle class is that community of people who are employed, who work hard, and who earn a living which enables them to live comfortably, to feed their families, to save for college, and again, to do that with some modicum of peace of mind.
Okay.
It's people that are not living in apprehension about where the next paycheck is going to come from, whether they're going to be able to feed their families.
Right.
That's what the middle class is all about.
Well, what do you think is, I mean, it must be different than, there must be a different middle class in Connecticut as opposed to, Arkansas or something like that.
Well, certainly, yeah. I mean, because the cost of living in Connecticut is so much more expensive than other places, obviously, you have to earn more in Connecticut in order to have that peace of mind.
Okay. So interesting, different levels of middle class across the country. The last one is you refer a lot to small business. Now, from my perspective, small business is not the mom and pop grocery store or the guy with the little hardware store who employs 2 or 3 people. Small business is a very specific goal, is very specifically defined as 20, 30 to 50 or less employees making $1 million to $100 million of gross revenue a year. This is the definition as it's related to being the backbone of our economy. Do you think that too many people don't understand that the owners of small business in America as the backbone of the economy are really wealthy folks?
Well, I think everyone in their own mind has an idea of what a small business is. To me, it's the people that own the gas station that I do business with, the coffee shop where I go, the dry cleaners that I have my clothes cleaned at. It's people that are making a go of it. Brian, I don't know. How long are you on the air this evening?
We are going to be on until 9 o'clock. Is the governor there? Is he going to be?
The governor's about to speak, and what I'd love to do is call back in, I think, 15 or 20 minutes after the governor has spoken, and share with you kind of the energy in this room. It's really a historic moment, and I don't want to miss him speak. I don't want to shortchange you, but certainly.
That's fine. Why don't we go ahead and do that? Why don't you call us back at about maybe quarter of? We'll give you a little extra time.
That would be perfect. I'll call you then.
All right. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay. We'll just let us hope that this is Andrew Rohrback back on the phone. Senator.
Hey, Brian.
How are you?
Well, an amazing speech. I have to say, Governor Romney just gave a speech which totally inspired the people that are here, and I think will inspire the people of America about what our best selves can produce going forward. It was really an amazing performance.
Well, give us a little snippet of what you remember, and I'm just going to let you kind of talk extemporaneously. What was he saying?
Well, I mean, what he said is, the president has run out of ideas, and he's also run out of excuses. That we have to restore America to what its grandeur has been and can be. It was a totally upbeat speech. It was a positive speech about what our nation's potential can be and how important it is for us to choose the right path going forward. So, I mean, I certainly, if people didn't hear it with their own ears or watch it with their own eyes, I encourage people, I'm sure you can find it online. It's a speech worth hearing. It was really a pivotal speech about the future of our country.
Now, what were the folks in the room? What kind of electricity or excitement was it? A very engaged, or was it, or were they very just quiet, listening, awestruck?
No. The energy level here is unlike anything I've ever felt before in politics. You really feel you're on the cusp of a change for this country, a very positive change, something that the people of this country are so hungry for, a reason for hope and a reason for optimism.
It must be very exciting. I mean, you have spent 18 so years as a public servant. You are running for U.S. Congress right now. Do you take a lot of excitement and vigor from this kind of thing? Are you excited to get back to Connecticut and, really go gung-ho on your campaign?
Well, I think Governor Romney is going to do very well in Connecticut. He was elected governor of Massachusetts. He understands what matters to the people of New England. He's a rational, responsible, thoughtful individual. And I think he's going to do very well in the state of Connecticut, given his history, and what he said tonight, I think, is what people in Connecticut want to hear.
Terrific stuff. Now, do you have a few moments now, and we can start asking you a few questions about your race?
Sure. Yep, and I'm walking back to my car, so you'll have to bear with me. There's a lot of people around, and if we get cut off, I will gladly come back and finish our conversation.
That's terrific. Let's talk. A lot of time is spent on jobs and the economy on your website specifically. I'm interested in your comments when you say, quote, we have to get the 5th district back to work. And how can a single district congressman do that? How do you get just your district back to work? And is there room in there where you would recognize that what may be good for the United States may not necessarily be good for the 5th district?
Well, it's hard for me to imagine that if America prospers, the 5th district won't prosper. We will. The fate of the 5th district will rise and fall in large measure with our success as a nation, and it is, in my mind, the way we're going to put the people of the 5th district back to work is by unleashing the potential. Connecticut's potential is limitless. It is being held back by state and federal policies which inhibit capital investment and the expansion of business enterprises in Connecticut. So I think that as a member of Congress, one has a unique opportunity to help serve as a catalyst to job creation, both in terms of trying to direct appropriate federal resources to the district and in terms of creating a national environment where people have confidence in the future.
From a perspective of just kind of how you move forward as a would-be congressman, would you look at that as the constituents who sent you to Congress in the 5th district, those are the ones that you're beholden to? Or do you feel that you have a greater constituency, and that is everyone in the United States, even though those, that handful of folks put you in Congress from Connecticut, your real job there is to take care of the whole country? Or do you really look at it as...
Well, no, my first responsibility as a state legislator, as a state senator, my first responsibility is to the people I work for, the people that elect me. Now, obviously, we're going to be deciding issues of national policy, but at the end of the day, I have to be accountable to the people who sent me to Washington. And we are developing national policy, but I always have to look at that national policy through the prism of what it's going to mean to the people of the 5th district.
Okay. You've spent a lot of time on your website as well talking about education, a thing that I am baffled by as to what we do, even just from the standpoint of what is the goal of federal support for education. We want smarter, more curious, more motivated kids, but beyond that, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if standardized testing is a solution. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't think the answers to the educational challenges that we face are going to emanate from Washington, D.C. Quite frankly, I think they're going to emanate from parents and teachers and principals. We have some amazing examples of success in our public school system in Connecticut. Anyone who hasn't been to the Amistad Academy in New Haven should get themselves there. For me, it was a life-changing experience to visit that school and to see what can be done when you create a learning environment for kids from any background.
I am baffled by it. I have a sister-in-law who's very big into education, not only as a teacher but also as an administrator, and she shares things with me, and I just don't know what the answer is. Other than I pray that parents get more involved with their children's education.
Brian, I would recommend to you to get yourself down and visit the Amistad Academy in New Haven.
We'll do it,
and you will. It is well worth the trip. They welcome visitors, and you will leave with renewed hope about the potential of our educational system.
All right. I will do it. I'll make that promise to you. I will do it before the year is out. It being January gives me plenty of time. Healthcare. You say this on your website, quote, every American knows that there is a healthcare crisis in our country, end quote. My question to you is, really? Does every American know that? Do you think the crisis has already occurred, or are we on the verge of a healthcare crisis?
Well, I think that no one can dispute that we have a healthcare system which costs too much, and which in which too much defensive medicine is practiced because of the fear of lawsuits. There's
so if it's the fear of lawsuits, wouldn't it be more tort reform, or wouldn't it be trying to wrangle in the lawyers, the legal side? We have a legal crisis in this country. I mean, you go to the doctor now.
We have a healthcare system which consumes a growing share of our gross domestic product, and we still have a lot of people that the taxpayer is paying for health care one way or another. We just don't have a very efficient way of delivering health care in our country.
Well, I don't know. As someone, unfortunately, that has to go to the doctor quite often, I suffer from relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. I have this medicine that costs $2,500 a month. You know what I pay for it? Next to nothing. I mean, like pocket change compared to this stuff, and it's very efficient. It comes right to my door, and I don't have to do anything for renewals. I mean, from that perspective, I think we're very efficient. I think it's wonderful that I can go see my doctor, and he can make an appointment in a week. I'm going to see him if I need a specialist. Another week, great. I think this is efficient. Well, how do you see it as not being efficient?
Well, I'm guessing, Brian, that you may have the benefit of insurance, which helps to cover the cost of your prescription. And for those of us who are covered with good insurance, the healthcare system is working well. For those without insurance, it's kind of a hopscotch system, and we need to, over time, first of all, create incentives for people to take better care of themselves, because most of the healthcare dollars are spent on chronic conditions, and it's going to be hard for me, Brian. We're driving away. My group, so it's going to be hard for me to finish up this interview. I'd be happy to come back.
That would be great. Let me just ask you one quick follow-up on that one, and then we'll let you go. I do like the idea of preventative care versus reactionary medicine, which I think is probably the case. But do you think health care should be a right of every American citizen? Should we move it into the category of national defense, where we provide health care like we provide national defense for all citizens of the United States?
Well, there's no question that every American citizen ought to be have confidence that their health care needs will be met. How we go about achieving that goal is where the action is, and I don't think we go about achieving that goal by throwing out all the elements of the current system that are working well. Rather, we have to retain those elements that are working well and bring the uninsured into the system that serves people with insurance as well as it does.
All right, we'll let you go on that.
It's a complicated issue,
Yeah.
but one thing is for sure, Congress should know that I think the thing about the president's health care bill that's most disturbing is that no one knew its contents before they voted on it, and that for me is reason enough to start over and to come up with a better answer.
Yeah, and I'll give a little shout out to the folks in Congress. Now, I'm a voracious reader. There's no way I can read 8,000 pages in 2 weeks, so I don't know how they expected people to do it. But
and it was a rushed deal. It was something that was I think that's one of the shortcomings of our process is that people are pressured to vote on things without knowing what's in the bill, and that's something that I hope I can help change.
We're talking to Senator Andrew Rohrabaugh, state senator running for the 5th District U.S. Congress seat from the vacating Murphy, who's running for Senate from the vacating Lieberman, who's, I don't know, he's going to go retire or work for Motion Picture Association of America with Chris Dodd. I don't really know. But, Senator, thank you very much, folks. If you like what he had to say, put him into Congress.
Thank you, Brian. We'll keep in touch.
All right, we'll see you. All right.